If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Yeah, I mean, it's something.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Morning Crankers, your Friday edition.
Yes, and I'm Greg.
And I'm Hans, and it's a Friday fun day. Right?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Have you ever wondered how much you should tip?
I always try to do 10%.
Well, I've got a tip chart of
Really?
what we're actually supposed to be spending.
Okay.
I'll probably spend more if they do they don't got to pay taxes on tips.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah, it should be that way. We got a packed show for you today, April 25th, and we're going to talk about the national days, obviously. Somebody get to yesterday, the 5 stupidest things Americans spend money on. How much to tip? I've got a wonderful story about Joan of Leeds. You know who she was?
No.
She was a nun that wanted to run for carnal pleasure.
Oh.
A dairy got $400,000 worth of cheddar cheese stolen from it. I want to talk about that.
Ooh.
How much do you trust Chinese chips?
Not very well.
Now, I'm going to tell you about something they found in a chip factory they thought was a potato that's kind of crazy, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh.
It's just kind of, one of those things.
Right.
Let's talk about AI a little bit, and are humanoid robots going to take over the world?
That's possible. I've been talking about this.
Yeah, we got something. Plus, it's Friday, so there's got to be a lot to do, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's coming this weekend. Folks, you got one day, maybe it's a half day. Unless it's you, and then you're working all weekend, right?
Maybe. We don't know yet. It ain't on the board yet.
Okay. Oh, it's not on the board?
Not on the board.
So you might have a chance to open the door to your life, your what would you call that? Your dating life?
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the door. It's opening for you, brother.
I really can't plan another one with my job, but yeah.
Come on, Greg. You can do it. I know you can.
I know.
I wanted to kind of do the sports thing a little bit in the beginning here. Kirby Joseph is now the highest paid safety in NFL history. I remember when Kirby Joseph was a cornerback. Do you?
Yeah.
4 years, $86 million.
Wow.
That's wide receiver money.
It is.
But a safety, former cornerback, now safety with the Lions. Where are the Lions coming up with all their money?
I don't know. They must have a printing machine like the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, no, it's not the St. Louis. Maybe the Dodgers.
Yeah,
the
Dodgers.
The Cincinnati
too.
Reds, maybe.
Yeah, Reds ain't got that money.
Well, I don't know. It's got to come from somewhere. And I remember the owner or the owner's son said that the problem with the organization wasn't their money; it was the fans. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm never going to let you live that down. Just so you know.
I know that.
Celtics, they're doing pretty good with no Jason Tatum.
No Jason Tatum.
Tatum.
No, Tatum.
Yeah. You like Jason Tatum? So what's wrong with him?
He injured his wrist in the last game.
Wow. It sucks. I hate to see that, but I'll tell you what I hate worse. Tell everybody about Steve McMichael.
Yeah, he passed away yesterday.
67 years old. Yeah. I mean, when you're young, you think 67 is like so old, but then when you get to middle age, you're like, 67 is really not that old.
It really isn't, but when you got ALS, I guess it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, ALS. I see the Ice Bucket Challenge starting again, and that was originally for ALS.
It was. Yeah.
So
that's a great thing to donate to.
It is. So, it is what it is. Some people are having really bad days. It sucks to watch that with McMichael.
Yeah.
It's all coming for us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why.
But at least Hans, he's in a better place. But not only that, he got in the Hall of Fame this past season.
That's true.
And that's what he wanted the most,
And Monday we are going to go over the draft, everything that has happened, everything that's going to happen today.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a good one, but, I know they're having fun up in Green Bay.
Oh, I guarantee you.
Some of the players are like, well, there's not much to do up here. Obviously, they haven't went to any of the bar scenes up there because I'll tell you what, I think Wisconsin has more bars per capita than anywhere in the world.
Right. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing like Kansas City, probably tailgating.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think Green Bay, Buffalo, Kansas City, what's the other one? Is it Denver?
No.
They were rated like or maybe, no, it was Philadelphia.
Yeah.
The 4 best tailgating places ever. And I mean, there's guys that bring like whole buses out.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Kansas City Chiefs have some right in Springfield, Missouri here. I drive by them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is.
Right.
It's April 25th. Did you know that it's National DNA Day?
Did not know that.
Okay, and I did bring up a story for National DNA Day. Should I bring that up before we do the rest of these national days?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, this is how previous sex partners affect offspring. It's a long-held belief among animal breeders that purebred progeny are best produced by females who have never mated before. Call it puritanical or ridiculous, but in breeding, it's been a long-standing practice, even though there has never been such or much science to back it up. Now, however, researchers at University of New South Wales in Australia believe that they have found some evidence that give that notion scientific support. Working with flies, Angela Crean, a research fellow at the Evolution and Ecology Research Center, picked up on her mentor's work of looking at how male factors can influence offspring outside of the DNA in his semen.
Huh.
Okay, pretty weird, huh?
It is weird.
So I'm not going to read this whole thing, but this is basically what it says. And by the way, this is from 2012.
Okay.
Okay, there's new studies that just came out. But if your partner has had a lot of partners,
Yeah.
the DNA is absorbed by their bodies. Females absorb male, DNA.
Right.
Okay? Now, that DNA can be found in their brains.
Huh.
Literally. And have you ever seen a kid that, they know that the DNA matches the dad and stuff, but it kind of looks like the previous partner?
Yeah.
That's because a man's DNA changes a woman's DNA. So when you have a baby with them, that other man's DNA is actually mixed up with her DNA.
Right.
Because it becomes her DNA. So these dog breeders for a long time have said, yes, you have to have a female dog that hasn't been with another dog. Otherwise, you're going to get not pure.
Right.
Well, now they've shown that it's true.
Yeah.
Okay. This is back in 2012. Now they have all this new research. I find that freaking amazing. So, I guess there's something to, it doesn't affect the males.
Right.
That only affects the females.
Huh.
So when you think about that when they absorb the DNA, that it actually changes them, the way they think, their sleeping habits, the when they want to habits, all that. Does that change your mind about the dating pool?
No, not really.
Really?
It wouldn't change my mind.
It doesn't.
No.
So what some of these people are saying is that you can't have what would that be called? Purebred child?
Yeah.
Like between you and them?
Right.
So your child wouldn't be purebred.
Right.
It would be, if she had 10 partners, it would be you and a mix of those 10 partners' kid.
Oh, well.
I mean,
really ain't much you can do about it.
No, unless if you're looking for something, but
Yep.
man, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, when I think about that, it's just,
Yeah, it is weird.
Well, it's more than weird. It's maybe there's something to what our ancestors told us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Maybe there's something. Maybe there's a reason that, we're supposed to do things the way that we're supposed to do things. And maybe we've all just been wrong this whole time.
Could be.
I mean, you've been hitting it out of the park.
Yeah.
So you're a very tall guy. How tall are you?
6'4".
Okay, with red hair, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's think about this for a second. So this guy that's with one of your exes back there in the land of poisonous nuts, okay?
Yeah.
He has a kid with her.
Right.
All right. And you were, going to town
right.
Back then.
Yeah.
And she's got your DNA.
Yeah.
So this 5'4" dark-haired dude
Yeah.
goes and has a baby, and somehow the kid is 6'5" with red hair.
Yeah.
And you've been here and she's been there. It's not like she
Right.
did anything wrong.
No.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm not saying.
It's weird.
I'm just, it is kind of weird. And but that wouldn't bother you.
Wouldn't bother me. It is what it is.
Would it bother most normal people?
Yeah, I'm sure there's people that it bother, and I'm sure there's others that like me and don't care.
This is one of them. I think I got to sit down and think about this a little bit. You know what I mean?
But you don't want to overthink it because it's just part of the plan.
Well, you don't want the analysis paralysis part of it.
Yeah.
But you do want to do things. Speaking of doing things, it's also National Arbor Day.
Yeah.
Now, you remember when we were in school, we'd go out and plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
Loved it.
Yep.
Johnny Appleseed Day. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Is that even celebrated anymore?
I don't think so.
Is Johnny Appleseed Day, National Arbor Day, the same thing?
Should be.
It should be because
They're all similar.
Yeah, remember the teachers? They had those little brown sacks, and they'd walk around, and they had these little baby trees, and we all did our part back then.
Right.
They probably cut that in the frickin' budget because
I'm sure.
We got to spend money to China and stuff, but whatever. It's also National Hairball Awareness Day.
Oh, wow.
No, it's National Hairball Awareness Day.
Okay.
Yeah. What did you hear?
I don't know.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
I don't know.
Okay. What do you think of that?
Hey, well.
The hairball, not hairy balls.
Could be a catastrophe, I guess.
Yeah, it could be. It could be a train wreck.
That too. Yeah.
It's National Hug a Plumber Day. Okay, I don't know who came up with this day, but
I have no idea.
I know a lot of plumbers, and most of them
don't want to be hugged.
I don't think they want to be hugged. And the other thing is, do you know what plumbers do for a living?
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to hug that?
No.
Okay, plumbers make a lot of money because they have to just deal with a bunch of
crap.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, every single day.
Every day.
Yeah, and I don't know if you want to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't
want to smell like a sewage plant.
Hey, you want to hug a plumber, go hug a plumber. But it's National Hug a Plumber Day.
Right.
It's National Historic Marker Day. Now, you go on a lot of driving trips.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're like me, once in a while, I stop at those National Historic Markers, usually because they're by some pretty cool stuff.
Usually, yeah. If I've got time, I usually do.
So where's the last one you stopped at?
Gosh, it's been years.
Didn't you go to Arkansas last year? Like, weren't you going to go see where Johnny Cash was born?
I was going to, and then my girlfriend at the time, we backed out of it.
Oh, how come?
She had other plans. I had to work.
Yeah. So you backed out of it because you had to work.
Yeah, it wasn't my fault.
Oh, I see what you were trying to blame her. Yeah,
No,
you were trying to blame her.
I wasn't trying to blame her.
Okay. Well, I'll go with that.
Plenty of other things I could have blamed her for.
Well, that's the truth. Well, here's the thing. How much to tip?
Yeah.
I think that it's important that you do tip for good service, but I don't think that tipping is necessarily something that you have to do. Like, if somebody sucks, do you think you should have to tip them?
I don't think you should.
I don't think you should. It should be built in if you want it that way. But, however, if the person is really good, you should tip them really well.
Oh, most certainly.
Now, where's the best service you've ever gotten?
I would say Mountain Grove at the Grove.
The Grove.
The Grove restaurant. I actually had good service up there.
Okay, well, they do. I've never had bad service there, I'll tell you that.
I can't say I really have either.
Well, the best I've ever had was at Cheddar's.
Okay.
In Springfield, Missouri.
Nice.
And there was this guy. He was 6'7", 6'8", something like that. He had to have been on, he just looked athletic, one of those types of guys.
Right.
And I think he was a college student that played ball.
Okay.
And there's like 2 big rooms connected to each other, lots of tables right there. And he was the only server on.
No kidding.
And that guy, this is probably 7-8 years ago.
Okay.
That guy was literally running to get us, I never asked for anything. I had new sodas in front of me. Everybody around me did.
Right.
And, we were all kind of leaving, like a bunch of us at one time, and I got up, and there was just like 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, just laying all over the place because everybody was that impressed with how much good service this guy had.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's good.
So it says on here in the U.S., the general rule is 15 to 20%.
Yeah.
That's what the etiquette experts say when they were interviewed. This includes food and drink servers, drivers. Okay, so like we've got a friend, Eric Thompson.
Yeah.
Runs the Eric Thompson show.
Yeah.
And during the day, he does Uber.
Right.
Okay. He says that very rarely he'll go and, deliver a $50 order and gets a $2 tip.
Right.
Probably not. I mean, at 10%, you're at $5. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I mean, to him, it's almost sacrilegious not to do it.
Right.
To do it right. So spa and salon professionals, which, me and you don't have that much experience with spa and salon.
No.
Travel assistants, how much with that do you have?
No.
Home service providers.
Yeah.
Okay. My wife still runs a pressure washing company, and it's weird. Like sometimes she gets a $100 tip.
Wow.
That's pretty good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
20%, I would say, is generous, and it's pretty straightforward math.
Right.
Okay. 10% is probably the easiest.
Yeah.
But again, it just depends. Are they good or are they bad?
Right.
But 15 to 20%, that's what they're saying. You said 10, right?
Yeah, I give 10 all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I guess with everything else, that's going up as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's basically why I give 10%, because it keeps it at an even keel because of all the price hikes and everything, food and all that.
Yeah, well. So what do you think you're going to be doing this weekend besides working?
Probably not a whole lot, but there's a lot going on this weekend in the Ozarks, even if I don't have time.
What's going on?
Well, we got Star Wars STEM Day.
Ooh.
With the 501st Legion. It's going to be for third grades and plus, it says.
That's cool.
May the crafts be with you, they say. During an out-of-this-world day of themed activities and special guest appearances. And I wonder who they're going to be.
I don't know. Chewbacca would be cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Or, I don't know. Who's your favorite? Yoda?
Yoda. Yeah, I like Yoda, but he ain't my favorite. I like Boba Fett.
You like Boba Fett?
Boba Fett. He was my favorite character.
Really?
Yes.
That
bounty hunter.
Well, he is kind of a bounty hunter, but he's kind of a wimp compared to Luke Skywalker. Or how about Han Solo?
I like Han Solo.
I mean, Han Solo was like the Romeo.
Yeah.
Like.
I would say Han's right there, like my second favorite behind the bounty hunter that was trying to kill him at the table, remember?
He was. Where do you put Luke Skywalker?
Well, I like him. I think I would put him down farther. I got Yoda at 3, and then I would have Chewbacca at 4.
How about Ben?
And Obi-Wan Kenobi at 5, definitely. And then I would have Luke right behind him at 6.
See, I got Luke in front of Obi-Wan Kenobi, but, it is what it is.
I think he only learned from the master.
Well, that would be really fun to take your kids to.
It would be. And that's just one event going on this weekend.
What else is going on? What's you got for adults?
And that's for Saturday, by the way, guys. So don't skip out on it. It's 10:30 in the morning start time.
Okay, cool.
All right. Saturday on April 26th at 12 p.m. Yeah. They're going to have at the Brightspeed Ice Park. Never been there.
Me neither.
Okay. You just have to go to their website. But they've got Earth Day Festival coming.
That'd be cool.
And then they've got Sierra Hall, Casey and the Attaboys, Ozark, Bella Donna, Beth Bombaro, and Ambience Band, and many, many more artists will be there. And that's all gets off. All the festivities kick off at noon.
That's cool. That's
cool.
Nice.
So, and then we got, man, I wish I was off. I hope I'm off.
What's up? Saturday,
April 26th, 2025. At 7 p.m. at the Riff, right there on It's on West Sunset Street, by the way, here in Springfield. So, Pop Punk Night, Springfield, Missouri. Band full of Nuns.
Okay, don't know them.
Offended at Everything, and Moonshine. And then here's some bands I know you've heard of.
Okay.
Blink 182.
Yes, sir.
And A Day to Remember.
Okay.
Yellow Card, it looks like. Sum 41.
Some 41, know them.
Fall Out Boy.
Fall Out Boy, yep.
And My Chemical Romance. And many more bands that night. Ooh.
Really? Isn't that one that sang Stacy's Mom has got it going on?
Yes.
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 Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's going to be a good concert.
I think so, too. Yep.
Wonder how much it is to go. Probably doesn't say on there.
Say.
Yeah.
You go. It says come to their website. So just go to their website, check it out. Remember, that's at the Riff here in Springfield. So
that's going to be fun. That's pretty cool.
And then one more.
There's more.
One more.
There's more.
There's more. If your cup of tea ain't punk rock, then we've got country music, folks, on the opposite end.
Okay.
Okay. And this is going to be at the Thunder Ridge Nature. And it's Riley Green and Craig Morgan together.
Ooh.
That's it starts at 6:30 p.m. Remember, at the Thunder Ridge Nature Arena, another place I have not been yet. But
I've been by there, yep.
I want to go there. But, yeah.
I believe that is a Bass Pro Shop owned deal.
It is.
Yep.
It is. So, remember, the doors open at 6:30 p.m.
Well, you guys go have fun with that. I mean, it's something to do this weekend.
There's a lot to do in the Ozarks this weekend.
There is, and a lot of people are always like, oh, there's nothing to do. Well, the reason there's nothing to do is because you don't do it.
There's stuff to do for you. There's stuff to do for your
kids.
family, your kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, just get out and do it.
You know, it's actually kind of adventure just going to a donut shop.
It is.
You know what I mean? It's fun for the kids. It's just fun to do.
It is.
Speaking of fun, do you know that even nuns like fun?
Oh, yeah.
Listen to this. A medieval nun faked her own death to escape the convent and pursue carnal lust. What is carnal lust?
Carnal.
Well, I know what it is. I was just, I just don't know how to say it. You know, being that we're a PGR.
We try to keep it PG.
Well, Joan of Leeds created a makeshift dummy to throw Archbishop Melton off track. She then fled a town 30 miles away and was never seen again. What do you think of that?
Interesting stuff.
Well, she just was tired of being a nun, but I don't think you could get out of it back then.
No.
Okay, as they looked, they found a tale of intrigue, of an admirable cunning, as Joan faked her own death by creating a dummy in the likeness of her body and placing it among actual corpses before running away.
Right.
Changing one's mind about life in nunnery was a substantial fall at the time due to both the gravity of religious commitments being broken as well as the limited agency women experienced at medieval times. York's religious leaders were highly displeased with her actions. She now wanders at large to the notorious peril to her soul and to the scandal of all her order, wrote Archbishop of York William Melton in a book dated 1318. From the surface evidence alone detailing Joan using a dummy, burying it in a spot that would strongly point to her being dead, escaping the convent's strictures was clearly a priority that outweighed any potential consequences or retribution. What do you think of that? It says a note in the register explained that she impudently cast aside the propriety of religion and the modesty of her sex by faking death in a cunning, nefarious manner, which had her simulate a body illness where she pretended to be dead before placing makeshift lookalikes in a sacred place among real dead members of her religious order just to go out and experience men.
She was desperate to seek sex for the first time in her life, so it sounds like.
That, or maybe they were just pricks.
Yeah, that too.
Do you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of weird stuff that's going on. Like, have you ever been to a church that says a woman must wear a head covering?
No.
See, they kind of take things out of context a little bit, but the reason that Paul said that women had to wear a head covering was because at the time, prostitutes didn't.
Right.
Prostitutes didn't wear a head covering, and they would wear a lot of makeup, so they didn't want them thinking that a member of their church was. You see what I'm saying? And then today, they're like, oh, you must wear a head covering. Things get messed up. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of them.
Right. We know why. We know why they never get having sex though.
Yeah, well,
they never get none.
That was a pretty good one. I might have to cut that one out. Yeah, they never get none. Yeah. So,
All right.
anyways, we talked about that dairy. I would like to know, Neal's Yard Dairy in London fell victim to a scam that cost them over 20 tons of cheddar cheese and $400,000 in damages. What do you think of that?
That's a lot of damage.
Okay, well, they said that it was a sophisticated scam. After the company was approached by a fraudster posing as a legitimate wholesaler, employees shipped 950 cloth-bound cheeses to France, only to realize the whole thing had been a setup. As a result, the business took a substantial financial hit of more than $390,000.
Oh, wow.
And then the theft became even more high-profile when celebrity chef Jamie Oliver got involved, rallying behind Neal's Yard Dairy and urging his followers on social media to keep an eye out for the stolen cheese. Although an arrest has been made, the suspect was released on bail pending further inquiry, leaving many to wonder what the motivation was behind this bizarre scheme. What do you think of that?
That's crazy.
I mean, but cheese is pretty important. I mean, people buy cheese, but what's he going to do? Sling it on the corner?
Right.
You know, I mean, what do you do with 20 tons of cheese?
A whole lot.
It was Hayford Welsh organic cheddar, Westcombe cheddar, and Pitchfork cheddar. Wow. It says a half-pound slice is $16.
Huh.
And 24 tons was stolen.
Wow. That's a lot, man. I'm
How much cheese can you eat in a week?
I can eat a lot of cheese. I eat cheese daily.
Well, let's go to our favorite place, Asia.
Okay.
You remember all the bad things that come out of
Yeah.
Asia? Yeah, we talk about it all the time.
Almost. We do all the time.
Okay, so this potato chip factory was running in Hong Kong. They had a bunch of potatoes, because it's a potato chip factory, and one wasn't a potato. It was a century-old grenade that was still functional.
Oh, my goodness.
The police grabbed it and quickly detonated the device in an abandoned alley, and they have a picture of it detonating.
Wow.
How much of that stuff slips through?
Quite a bit.
Because it's not like here where we have extreme regulations. People could be eating pieces of that, for years. It was a German grenade. That's why it lasted so long. Because if it would have been a Chinese grenade 3 months later, it wouldn't have detonated.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I'm not saying.
You're just saying.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. Now, finally, I got to ask you, are you worried about AI or humanoid robots?
I believe that it's a possibility they're going to try to take over.
Well, in Asia again, in Beijing, they're showing the world how strong they are.
Right.
In one small step for robot kind, a humanoid robot ran alongside actual humans in a half marathon in the Chinese capital on Saturday.
Gee, I wonder if it ran out of breath.
Do you think they're going to start giving them awards?
That'd be crazy.
Because AI has came so far, even in Havana, Cuba. There's a restaurant there now that literally has a waitress that is a robot.
Yeah.
Have you heard about that?
I think I heard something.
I think they named her like Lucy or something like that. And, everybody's coming there just to see the robot working.
Hey, Lucy, I'm home.
But how many people did Lucy put out of work?
She put a lot of people out.
You see what I'm saying? And that's what scares me.
That's what I worry about.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It says the Sky Project Ultra robot, also known as Tin Kung Ultra, from the Tin Kung team, claimed victory among non-humans, crossing the finish line in 2 hours, 40 minutes, and 42 seconds to run 13.1 miles.
Ooh.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's...
Yeah. So, I don't know. It didn't seem like, it was that great. But, yeah. Anyways.
I don't know, man. AI is just it's a hard subject to talk about.
Well, it's going to be a wonderful weekend. I want to thank you guys for being here today. I'm Hans.
I'm Greg. And get out and do some things around the tri-state here.
Yes. Go out and have some fun before the robots take over. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
You just got to be careful.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Love you, gang.
I love you, too. See you on Monday.
See you on Monday.